I had an idea. Another idea. I'm always having ideas, but this one I think has some legs, potentially, maybe. I don't know if it'll ever be a thing, but whatever, I'm presenting it to you. This is a concept that I've had. Side note, I do sometimes find that I present ideas to people and the people assume that I'm going to carry that idea out, and no, it's just an idea. And this one is just an idea. Anyway, the concept is a museum for digital culture and the social historical context surrounding it. My thinking is things like the old internet was kind of the basis for all this, and retro games, of course, because they're a huge part of our digital culture. Things like email and IRC and faxes, Usenet, all the stuff that we used and don't really use very much anymore, at least not in like the mainstream. Nobody's using news groups, and you're not going to find many people who... Well, how many museums can you think of that have a working Usenet system or a working IRC? How many places can you think of that you can go to have a ready-made LAN setup, like a LAN party setup? I came across one at a Play Expo once, but it'd be nice to have something that's got that permanently built in. Maybe even over dial-up or something, I don't know. Or a dial-up facsimile. Because, having it actually over dial-up is a bad move. But, so having some sort of... something where you can see exactly what the internet was like in the mid-90s or the late 90s, complete with the slow 56k connection. Something where you can... the name Facsimulator came into my head, of some way of like simulating a fax machine. There might be a fax or a couple of fax machines in the museum, and they can both talk to each other, and you can send a fax from one to the other, or maybe you can have some sort of email address where you can send direct to a fax machine and it'll just print it out. I feel like there's scope to this, and I feel like it's something that could do with being in a museum, because obviously there's the Centre for Computing History, and there are all sorts of video game museums, but and there's the Media Museum, which has a small exhibition on this sort of thing. Well, it is essentially computing history, but I feel like the bit that's always missing is the social context, and that's the most interesting part for me. It's why I always have people talking in my Hits 40 videos, for example. I like to get the stories that you don't often hear about, the sort of stories that only an individual who was there can tell you. That's the sort of experience that I would want out of such a museum. I feel like the stuff that I have in mind is a little bit limited in scope at the moment, but, well, it's the sort of idea that I could potentially flesh out. It might make for an interesting thing. Like I said, I have no intention or current plan of ever opening such a museum, but, well, if anybody wants to take the idea and, hey, maybe hire me, bring me on for some consultation, I'd love to do that sort of thing. Anyway, if you have any other ideas of what could go in such a museum for digital culture, then I would love to hear about them. Heck, you could probably put together a nice little contained Fediverse type thing and have that as part of the experience. Who knows? Anyway, that's all from me. Thank you very much for watching. Oh, that was the other one thing. Before I go, the other small item that I've just remembered was potentially having a section that talks about the personal homepage and blogs and stuff. The small websites that everybody used to have. When ISPs used to give you web space and you could just stick like 50 megabytes of website up. Have a personal photo album or whatever. Imagine having a museum give you that sort of web space and give you the tools necessary to just build a little website and put it out there. Anyway, that's all from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.